Hey guys, this is Thomas Edwards, creator of The Intentional Self and founder of the Professional Wingman. I'd like to welcome you to the Weekly Intention. The Weekly Intention shares personal stories of the trials of life, the tribulations and triumphs that come with it, and the gifts from the lessons that you can learn so you can apply it to your own life with intention. As you guys know from previous episode, I went to Scottsdale, Arizona for an amazing weekend with 16 other guys. We celebrated one of my buddies getting married. And don't need to go into the details of that. You can watch the previous episode. But I remember when I was back home, I felt a lot of emotion. I felt down. For about 36 to 48 hours, I was just feeling really shitty and just not really sure why. And so I noticed that it was just taking energy. I was sucking energy and just not really feeling great about myself. So I decided to meditate and journal about what was really going on in hopes of finding something. A revelation popped up to me. I was feeling guilty. And why was I feeling guilty? That was a question that started to come up for me. Why was I feeling guilty? Why was I feeling guilty? And I discovered I was feeling guilty because I actually enjoyed myself. I actually enjoyed having time away from family and responsibilities and my work so I can really focus on having fun with some really, really good friends of mine that I haven't seen in a really long time. And I thought to myself, how silly of me to feel guilty about enjoying myself, really enjoying myself in what was supposed to be a guilt-free experience. Now, when I was in the experience, I was very guilt-free, open, enjoyed myself. But when I came back, there was something that kind of just stuck with me, and it was really that guilt. And so I looked deeper, and I remember my time back in New York City. This was back in, when I first moved, it was 2011. New York, if you guys have lived in New York or know about New York breeds this really, really strong work hard, play hard culture. And I just bought into it because for me, I was on my hustle. I wanted to develop my business and take it to new levels. And I would work many, many hours every single day, Monday to Saturday, and especially when I was working with clients in person. I was burning the candle at both ends, just being able to work with my clients in person throughout all hours of the night, and then also being able to work on my business during the day. And so when opportunities popped up for me to actually get away and escape, I took it. And what I really understood, and now looking back, is I was running away from not just the work and the responsibilities, which then led into the responsibilities around my relationship and my friends and all those things. I was also running away from the emotions, handling the emotions, the emotional chaos that comes with growing a business, being a solopreneur, having a relationship, living in this new city, creating new friends, new opportunities for myself. As I continued to feel guilty, and here's where the guilt came in actually. Here's where the guilt came in. The guilt came in because as I was having fun, all I could think about was, man, I really should be working. Man, I shouldn't be watching TV. I shouldn't be drinking with my friends. Really should be working. I really should be spending my time working. I shouldn't be spending time going on a date with my girlfriend at the time, who's not my wife, because I should be working. So I was feeling guilty about being away from my work, which I was hustling. And then I decided to force myself to play, force myself to enjoy the benefits, right? Like you really just enjoy the fruits of your labor. And what ended up happening is instead of playing, I was escaping from my work. I took every opportunity I could to escape from my work and force myself to play so I can avoid the feelings that was coming around, the feelings that was coming up for me around the stress around work and the stress of a relationship and the other, personal stress of trying to fit into New York and make something of myself and make friends and fit in. So my experiences going out and drinking with friends and being out late and staying out for long periods of time, whether it was going from Sunday brunch to Sunday night, continue to go out to, bar hop and party and hang out with your friends. And what I found myself doing was coping. As soon as I felt emotional stress around work, the hustle, fitting in, my relationship, I escaped and used that as an excuse to play when really I was coping. And this is when I discovered that when you force yourself to play because you need to get away from your current life and where you are, that is disguised as coping. And in that place where you are escaping and you think you're playing, but really you're coping, this is where addictive behavior, addictions, and irresponsible behavior breeds. Because once you get the relief of playing, which is really coping, and you're getting away from the current conditions of your life, you instantly feel that relief and you want it more and more and more. And just like anything that you take on in your life, you build a tolerance. You build a tolerance of that relief, and all of a sudden now you need more relief. And so all of a sudden, what used to be just going to happy hour after work becomes these benders, that might happen once a week, but then it could become even more. And now I'm just using alcohol as an example, and that's something that I've experienced. But for other people, it could be other things. But eventually, you see yourself growing the desire to play more, which is really coping more. And in essence, what I was living and what many of you are likely living right now is, instead of this work hard, play hard culture, you're actually living in a work hard, cope hard culture. Not being able to really sustain the emotional tolerance and the chaos that comes with working at a high level, and you are escaping through a particular tool that is allowing you to cope. And the more you work, the more you cope. And the more you experience that relief, the more you want it. And you're not even realizing that you're doing it. It's just happening. I think about my daughter, right? My daughter, she'll be 2 next month at the time of this recording. When she plays, she does it guilt-free. I mean, she has no fucks. And she enjoys herself completely guilt-free. I mean, she doesn't even know what guilt is, right? Really, she doesn't really understand the concept of guilt yet. So when she plays, there's no regret. There's no conscious, should I be doing this? This is just her playing and her enjoying herself. And through that, there's that gratitude of experiencing the joy, and then coming back to whatever that normal life is for her experience right now, and having gratitude for that, whether it's to play and then all of a sudden had her diaper changed because she pooped, or it could be going outside to the park and playing and then realizing we have to go home and having to realize you have to come around the current, to head home to eat or to take a nap. But she doesn't, when she lives her life, she does it guilt-free. And at some point, we either impose this upon ourselves, or we were told that playing, having fun, enjoying ourselves is bad, that we should not do it. That when it comes to us producing and making money and building a career or building a business or building a life, that if we decide to take time to play and enjoy ourselves in a guilt-free fashion, that this is bad. The lesson that I want to share with you guys that came to me and I want to share and forward it to you guys is, allow yourself to have guilt-free joy in your life. Of course, in moderation. But allow yourself to enjoy life. Allow yourself to have fun. Allow yourself to play. Guilt-free. We are allowed to do that. And when we don't, or when we force ourselves to play, and we carry that guilt with us, typically it's because we're trying to escape something. And instead of playing, we're coping. We're desensitizing ourselves to the emotions that come around that particular chaos, the emotions around that. When I came back from my vacation, I was actually fired up to be back. I was back into my routines. I was back with my wife. I was back with my daughter, my family. I was back to work. I mean, I was energized to get back to living my life. Now, if you're not enjoying your life and you find yourself looking to escape constantly, then what you're doing is coping. You're not playing. You're not allowing yourself to joyfully live life. And if that's the case, You must decide to improve your life until you enjoy it. So when you have fun, you're not guilty, and instead you're grateful, not only for the experience, but when you're back to your regular life, your routines, you're grateful to be back in those situations too. And this is by no means an easy feat. This is a challenge. I think this is something that we all pursue, is to have an amazing life that we don't want to escape. In fact, the life that we live is also the life that we have joy and that we play in as well. And that is possible for many of you guys. But the way it's set up right now, if you take a look at the current conditions of your life, the way that you are living and the way that you're playing, and you look at how you're playing, chances are it's more likely that you're coping because you're escaping the emotional chaos of what's going on in your life, and you prefer not to handle it, not to process it, not to feel it, but to instead escape it and use whatever tool you can to think that you're playing, but you're actually coping. And what I would ask respectfully is to give yourself a chance to let those feelings process, to feel it, to build an endurance, to build a resilience. So that way when you do decide to play, when you do decide to treat yourself, when you do decide to have fun, you do it in a guilt-free fashion. My question for you guys is, where in your love, lifestyle, leadership, and legacy do you find yourself waiting and wanting to escape? So you can create conditions where you think you're playing and you think you're enjoying yourself, but you're really escaping and essentially coping with the emotional chaos that you feel presently. And what is your intention to improve the current conditions of your life so when you do get to play, you get to do it guilt-free, and you get to do it creating gratitude instead of a coping mechanism. Coping is something that is a problem that we have, not just in our country, but in the world. We have tools to cope because we can't handle the emotions around our lives every single day. And if you're someone who's having issues or trouble or just problems in your life with just coping with your current conditions, and it's because you're not happy with your current conditions, you want to improve your life in such a way and just don't know how. You don't know how to handle the emotional chaos, but you also don't know how to improve the current conditions of your life so you don't have to escape. Then there's an opportunity for you to seek some support. And so if you're looking for that, just go to thomasedwardsjr.com/talk and let's have a conversation. Let's see what we can do to not only improve the current conditions of your life, but also take a look and see how you're coping and turn that into playing so you can live with joy and gratitude and without guilt. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And until next week, this is Thomas saying, keep it simple, be amazing, and live intentionally.